So thank you so much. We are recording the session. Thank you and welcome to today's session. Please, you are more than willing to engage with the speakers. How this is going to work is we're going to have one speaker at a time. Please feel free to, once we are done with the first speaker, I'm going to have a conversation with the speaker. If you have questions that you want to ask the speaker, please feel free to type them on the chat, and then I'll ask those questions to the speaker. If you have any comments whatsoever, you are more than welcome to also do the same on the chat. So we're going to have 3 speakers, and in the process, you are more than welcome to ask questions. The purpose of this session basically is to discuss or talk about failure or blunders in business. We all make mistakes. We all have made mistakes. We all have blundered in our business. And sometimes it might be a judgment error on our side. Sometimes it might be something that was really, really beyond our control, and we blundered. And now we know better, right? This platform is really about sharing those stories. It's about sharing stories of blunders, of mistakes. And really the idea when we started the platform early last year was that a lot of entrepreneurs were going through difficult times due to COVID. They were struggling, their businesses were struggling. And we decided, while we are still on the tip, let's talk about the mistakes that we have made. And what this does is it actually shows that you're not the only one who's making mistakes. We all make mistakes. And some of the mistakes are common mistakes. And some of the mistakes we learn from them. So ever since early last year, I think March, if I'm not mistaken, TJ, March, April last year, we have had over 30 speakers or 30 entrepreneurs who have come to our platform to share their stories. So house rules, basically, please ensure that you are on mute. And at all times, if you want to raise a question, please type it on chat, and we'll pose it to the speaker. So thank you so much for coming through. Let's look at the agenda for today. 3 speakers, and by the way, this is Global Entrepreneurship Week. So globally, the world is celebrating entrepreneurship. And we have decided to also celebrate entrepreneurship by also committing to doing this event. There's over, I can't remember, 80,000 or so events taking place worldwide. Each country is celebrating entrepreneurship. So this is part of us celebrating entrepreneurs. We've got 3 speakers, 3 amazing speakers. And yeah, we are, of course, on YouTube. Please take a moment now, if you can, to go to YouTube and like our YouTube channel, My Biggest Blunders. That's where our channel is. Like our channel, subscribe to our channel. You will then be able to receive notifications for all these talks, because we are going to post these talks on our YouTube platform. There are other talks. If you go there now, you'll see that there are other talks already of the previous speakers that we have posted. So the idea is we talk serious things. We are vulnerable. We talk about our failures. We don't hide our failures. We celebrate our failures. We share our failures, but we also have fun in the process, right? So we have artists, we have performances, we have poets. Like today, we have 2 poets. So we have poets, we have poetry, we have music, but we also have serious conversations on the platform. So please, like, there are other talks, you can go there. Quite a lot of lessons to learn from all these talks. You can actually write a book from just the lessons from these talks, various mistakes, various blunders that people have experienced. So that's where we are. Please like our page. We would really appreciate it. Like our page, watch the talks, learn from them, share the talks with other people, be generous to say, I found this insightful, please watch this talk before you make this decision or that decision, or before, one of the things that you can do is, if you can see that this is going to end in tears, for instance, a friend of yours or your business partner wants to make a decision, and you can see that this is going to end in tears, maybe check one of the talks here and send them the talk so that they can learn from that blunder, and maybe it will change their decision. All right, so we are on YouTube, so please kindly like our page. So today we have 3 speakers: Mr. Makatu Tshivula. We have a poetry by Struggles Production. I'm looking forward to that. And we also have another amazing talk by Tokozoovu Ndlovu, all the way from East Pingo in KZN. These talks are pre-recorded last week, a week or 2 ago. They're pre-recorded, so they're still quite fresh. You are watching them for the first time. And then we're going to post, and then we're going to post them. We are going to post. Okay, so we are going to post them on YouTube. So I'm looking forward to the talks, and we're not going to waste any time. Our first speaker is Mr. Makatu Tshivula. He's from Soweto, quite an amazing young man who started a business, and his story is quite amazing because he talks about something that can happen to any one of us. But I'm not going to give the script away. I'm going to play his talk, and from there we will then engage in a conversation with him. So as you are watching the talk, if something resonates, please feel free to share it on the chat, and then let's have a conversation going. Mr. Makatu runs the candlelight business. It's quite an amazing business that's taking off and is growing quite phenomenally. And it's something that I wouldn't have thought about, but I was quite impressed with the operation that he's doing. But he will take us through how the whole thing works and his blunder. So without much further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome on my biggest blunder stage, Mr. Tshivula Makatu's talk.
The very first instruction God gave was, let there be light, which is what we do here at the Light Candles. We make candles for light. This is our famous baby that we use to make the candles. It's connected to a threading which produces over 160 candles at a time. So what happens is, this thread that you see going right under and connecting to the machine is the wick we use to switch on the candle. So what comes out here is a finished candle, something sort of like this. This is what comes out once the wax is solid and all done. So how we put the wax in there is that we use these 2 melting tanks which can hold over 160 liters of wax. So we put in hard wax in here, switch it on to a specific temperature, allow it to melt, pour it inside the pot, do our magic, do colors, because we do offer over 30 different colors, custom made colors, and then we pour them in this thing. This then comes out with a finished candle, and that's that. So we as the Light Candles, we make all types of different candles. We make pillar candles, dinner candles, normal household fluted candles which come in ranges of over 30 different colors, and you can choose which customized color you'd like. We also do make dinner candles, which is the smooth type of candles. They come in plain or in scented. It's up to you. Also, you can choose from a wide range of colors, even custom-made colors that we've never done before. We are based in Soweto, Pimville Zone 3. We're 7 months old and we're picking up. We ship throughout anywhere in the country, even outside the country, such as Botswana, Lesotho, Swaziland. So if you're anywhere in South Africa or around South Africa, just feel free to contact us. So you can search the Light Candles on Google. It will show you all the information, or check out our Instagram page which has the catalog and prices at Light Candles ZA, Twitter Light Candles ZA, Facebook The Light Candles. So how I got into the business of candles is last year, probably around this time, I was working for a different candle company, around here in Soweto, which I don't know if it's still operating, but I was working for that company and I could see the potential of growing and how I would have ran things if it was me. So I decided to resign from that business to go out and start my own. And I started like anyone else, started making them at home, and eventually I got funding, I got a machine, and that's when I started making, operating at a larger scale rather. And yeah, I was influenced or motivated by how huge the market is and how the response I was getting when customers would often compliment my service when I sold them candles, and that just made me realize that I could actually supply the whole of South Africa with candles, which is what we plan to do in the next 5 years. What's special about these candles is that we use two different types of waxes, which make them not only harder in terms of firmness, but they last longer, they burn brighter, they do not smoke, they do not drip. So these are premium quality candles like never before. I usually challenge my customers to actually light my candles compare it to another brand that they have, and they'll see the difference, and because I provide quality premium candles. So I'm going to tell you about how one of the blunders that I've made so far in my journey as an entrepreneur. About 2 weeks ago, on a Monday, a guy came to the shop and told me he does the wall advertisements. If you're from around Soweto, you would know that this is like wall advertisement all over. So he told me he does that, and I thought it was the perfect timing because I've been looking into that because it's one of my marketing strategies and advertisement placements. So I thought it couldn't have come at a better time, right? So he comes, he introduces himself, we speak, he tells me the different packages he offers, the different spaces, locations, the size of the painting that he would do. So we decide on a specific package, of which I had told him that let me just bounce it off my business partner real quick and he should come back after a day or two. And then he does come back around probably Wednesday or Thursday. When he comes, my business partner was on board with it, so we give him the deposit. He gives me an invoice, everything seems legit, and he had already spoken to a business down the road as well, not far from the shop. All right. So he tells me he'll start on Monday. This is a Thursday. So Friday, unprovoked, he texts me saying, nah, he just bought the paints. He's going to start on Monday. He's going to show me the pictures and all of that. I'm like, okay, cool. So Monday comes, and then end of business day arrives. Then I contact him on some, what's happening? Have you started? All of that. And then he tells me that he had said he'll start on Tuesday, not on Monday. So I'm like, okay, but I know you said Monday, but it's okay. So Tuesday comes, I decide not to contact him because I believe he's the one who should have told me he started. I give him the day. Wednesday morning, I contact him asking if he started. And then that's when things start becoming a bit shaky. And he tells me, no, I will start. Give me some time. All right, I give him some time. Thursday comes and it's end of business. So I contact him again on some, hey, my bra, what's happening? Have you started? And then he's like, I said I will start, with that harsh voice. So I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to panic. But I keep my cool, keep my composure, give him up until Friday. Friday comes, it's late, around like 5, end of business. So I'm like, okay, I haven't heard anything from this guy. So I WhatsApp him, and just to find that he has blocked me on WhatsApp. Okay, cool. I try calling him. I'm blocked on calling him as well. I try a different number, and when he hears it's me, he turns off the phone. So that's when I realize that, oh, I see what's happening. That's when I get the bigger picture. And to my because of what happened, I had remembered that he had spoken about the other business which was down the road that he said he'll also do for them. So I'd go to the business down the road to ask them what's happening, if they had given him money or anything like that. I find out that they haven't given him money, but they were quoted a totally different price for the same package that I got. And that's when I realized that, oh, okay, there's a scam running around here. And I warn them and tell them that, look, man, this is happening. Do not give him the money. This is what he does after you give him the money. They're like, okay, no problem. And in that moment, I was like, because I don't like being scammed, no one likes being scammed. I contact this police buddy of mine. You know, if you from around, you have to know a guy. You know, I knew a police guy, and I call him and I tell him the situation, and he says, "No, don't worry. It's a civil case, but if I can make him come to that other business, then he can come there and try and, you know, put him in his place, probably get the money back." I'm like, okay, cool. I go back to those to that company to tell them that, look, tell this guy you have the money, he can come through, and so it's like a sting operation type of thing. And then I just have an epiphany that, look, man, nothing is gonna come out of this. He's most likely not gonna come there holding money. No one goes to collect money holding money. So I'm definitely not gonna get my money that I had given him. And even though they won't arrest him because I willingly gave him the money, he could speak his way out of it and say no, he was gonna start next week or whatever, so we'll be back to square one. So I decided to just, for my sanity and my peace, I allowed it to let go. And I think that was one of the biggest blunders that I've made so far in my entrepreneur journey. And what I've learned was that when such things happen, you know, and a lot of businesses fall scam to these things in terms of you go to a service provider or to a supplier, someone you don't necessarily know, and you trust them with your money, hoping that they'll do the right thing, but they don't. So one lesson I learned from that was always do your background checks, you know. One thing I could have done in that moment was ask for referrals, ask for more pictures of him painting the places instead of just the pictures that he took, you know. Ask for the people he's painted for, call them, find out if he's good at his job and he does deliver. You know, that's one of the things that I could have done besides a background check onto asking him for past invoices that he's done for other people, his work specifically, if there's a picture of him actually painting. So yeah, that was one of the lessons I've learned from that.
Thank you so much. I was just having some network issues, but thank you so much, Mr. Yeah, you were scammed, basically. You know, yeah, I can't think of. Oh, I can't think of any other. Are you able to come through, Mr. Makatu?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, if you can switch on your video, that will be awesome.
All right. Give me a moment.
Great. Okay, are you okay? So you are in the dark. Are you using your candles there?
Yeah, sort of. Hey, load shedding again.
Oh my word.
Yeah, it's load shedding, so I'm using some background lights, you know,
Okay.
power packs, but here's the candle, you know.
Oh wow. Okay. Did you buy that stock or is it just customer perks? Owner perks?
I mean, I always have stock as a person. You have your
Okay.
own personal stock.
Okay. Great. I also am load shedding, so I need to make sure that we are done by 8 o'clock tonight because my load shedding is starting at 8 as well. Thank you so much for coming through and for such an interesting story. But before we get into the story, just a background. I mean, what did you study? What did you do? I mean, before you get into the candle story, what did you study?
I studied psychology at Nelson Mandela University in the Eastern Cape for 3 years. Did it and came back this side last year.
Ah, okay. So you're a psychologist.
Yes, some might say.
So how did you end up in candles?
Because the psychology journey is a bit tricky in terms of like you don't just get your degree then start working as a psychologist. It's very lengthy. So you have to go on to start your honors, do your honors, your masters. Then only in your masters can you then at least start practicing and register with the HPSA. So it was a thing of I couldn't fund my studies moving further, and I obviously can't work in the field of psychology with just a degree. So when I sat at home and basically just looked at my degree every single day, and I decided to put it aside and go job hunting, try and save up money so that the following year, which would have been this year, so I can do my honors then.
Okay. And then the job you found?
The job I found was at the other candle company. I started there in February. Yeah, it was just by chance that they were looking for someone who can help out, and I just happened to be here, and then I started working there.
Okay. And then you left. Why did you leave? Were you fight? Did you fight with them?
It wasn't fighting. It was more of I realized you can't build on someone's foundation, if that makes sense. It was a thing of you can see how this business is operating, and you introspect and you ask yourself is if this is where you want to end up for the rest of your life, in a company that's slowly being driven to the ground by the manager or owner, because there's certain things where you try and bounce off ideas and you get shut down because generational gap. And uh, besides that, it's just the whole thing of I believe I had more of a feel of how entrepreneurship works, even though I haven't been there, but just psychology wise, knowing how to get clients, how to keep them, what to do to try and, and my suggestions weren't being met with, eagerly.
So you stole the formula and you ran.
I wouldn't call it stealing. There's nothing new under the sun, hey?
Yeah.
And it's not the exact formula. It's I added my own formula after doing like research on terms of, oh, how can I make it even last even longer? So it was just okay. So this is what you use to make candles, and then I went on to my own background, modified the product, and passed it on off as my own.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the blunder. So this guy comes in. I mean, this is the main story. So this guy comes in, and he starts spinning the story. You're excited, like everybody. I mean, if this is something that you have been looking for a long time, it's as if God is answering your prayers. Here's this guy. He comes and he offers thing, and you're excited, right? And you go for it. At what point did you say, no, something is not adding up here?
Funny enough, and I didn't mention this to you because I don't know. Funny enough, when he came, I don't know, maybe because I'm also very spiritual, so I do have some sort of I discern spirits, like hey, okay. So with that, I kind of had an off thing, but I just thought maybe I'm judging him based on his appearance, not that he was wearing any particular way, but there was just something about him.
Yeah.
And I remember me telling him, Guti, okay, I even asked for his address and he gave me an address. I'm like, hell, anyone can just walk in inside a shop and say, I paint this, and shows me pictures of him taking a picture of somewhere. I literally said that to him, only to find out, Guti, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
So in get go, kinda, I was skeptical, but I'm like, I didn't pay attention to that. So, and then, yeah.
But what sold you? I mean, before you do something, you sit like you're like at the crossroads, right? You're sitting there like, do I go this thing I wanted? But this sounds like it's too good to be true. It can't be. How did he sell? I mean, was he? I see Elizabeth says scammers are smooth operators. Was he a smooth guy, nicely dressed, talking the right language? And maybe that's what sold you. What was that thing that said, okay, I'm going?
What sold me is that he knew what he was talking about. A part of me thinks that he actually is an artist, but probably he just thought, let me not do this job, because he knew what he was talking about. He knew the corners. He told me the square feet of the place, told me where there's more traffic. He knew what he was talking about, and yeah, that's what sold me. He knew what he was talking about, and he wasn't hesitant when I asked for his address. I didn't follow up on the address because I'm obviously thinking, obviously it's not his address. I'll get there and find it's just a spaza shop or something. So
Yeah.
he knew what he was talking about. Like all scammers, they always know what they're saying, and I guess I didn't have any comparison to compare to. I didn't have any other supplier that I can, I don't know. It was just something I'm thinking about, and miraculously, this guy walks up and tells me he does it. So I was like, oh, okay. I've been thinking about it, so might as well.
When did you realize you have been scammed?
During that week firstly, when he said he'll start on Monday, and I contact him on Monday, then he tells me he said he'll start on Tuesday. I'm like, my brother, I literally see on WhatsApp you can tag a text from the other person like said Monday, and then he was like, he didn't respond to that, so that was the first red flag. And then you heard as the day went by, the following day, 5 o'clock, nothing. Wednesday, hey, my brother, I said I'll do it. Every day since that first red flag of him saying he said he'll start Monday, but when Monday comes, he said he'll start on Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. So you're blocked. All forms you're blocked.
Yeah.
You decide. You decide, and I like what you say in the talk. You say when you are from around, you must know a guy. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? You must know a guy. Who's the guy?
No, man. I mean, I'm sure you've been in South Africa long enough to know that sometimes for things to work out, you need to know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. Yeah, well, so for me, it was a thing where I'm like, I don't like being scammed. I've never been scammed. Yeah, well, so I was very infuriated. I was furious by the fact that I just got scammed. So I'm like, he's not gonna take my money that easily. So I knew a guy, which was a policeman, and I called him. No problem, let's set him up. I'll come through, rough him up a bit, not physically, but like scare him, threaten to throw him into jail. And then after the call, I just sat down and I'm like, it's not gonna help anything, man. I know how these things go. I know how they go. It's pointless. Yeah.
But I want to stay with this because Makatu, one of the things that you don't get taught at school is the fact that you must know a guy. You don't get taught that, right? And here you are, you are telling us we must know a guy. And in business school, I was never taught I must know a guy. How significant is that though? I mean, is it something that's really significant? Do I need to have that? And what purpose does it serve?
Okay, sorry. I think I just I switched off my video by mistake. But can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, it'll be loading to go on. It's one of those things that you learn as a hustler. It's not something that they'll teach you in entrepreneurship school or in school generally. And most entrepreneurs are originally hustlers. You just need to know how to make things move.
Okay. Are you there? Makatu? Okay, while we're still waiting for Makatu, colleagues, please feel free to post your questions or comments on the chat. If you have any question, I'll ask Makatu to respond to it. But since we seem to be having a bit of a connection issue with him, I think what we can do is maybe let's move on to the next talk, and then we'll come back to him. We'll come back to him when he's reconnected properly, and then we'll finish the conversation. Okay, so the next speaker, we have 3 speakers. The idea is to finish at 8 o'clock. So that's still the idea. We are still right on track. So the next speaker is a group of 2. They are entrepreneurs in the theater space. They dramatize, they do poetry, quite amazing talent out there. And I have had the privilege of working with them for the past 3 or 4 months, mentoring them and coaching them. And I've decided, given the talent that I've seen, to invite them to come through and do something for us. They are called Struggles Production. They come from the Orange Farm. So, and as we have our discussion, if you want to invite them, you want to use their services, you are far more than welcome to engage them. They're quite amazing. And what they do is basically theater, drama, poetry, all those things. We have asked them to basically do one of their performances, and we are fortunate we actually have 2 performances. They haven't seen this, so they're seeing it for the first time. So we'll play the first performance now, we'll have a conversation with them, and then we'll play the second performance at the end when we close the session. So the first performance that they'll be doing for us is something that I found quite interesting. Mr. Makatu, can we have a conversation with you slightly a bit later after I'm done with Struggles Productions? And then we'll come. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome on the My Biggest Blunder stage, Struggles Production.
Her feelings are saying no matter how many ways that she can show me that she and I are the same. That it is also tough for them to climb up those hills, especially when they are wearing their heels. That it is also rough for them to become doctors, especially when they are still looked down as daughters. How can I claim that they are too soft to own this world? Never mind running it. She could not even recall our moments of happiness. She told me that we never created any, moment of happiness. She told me my actions taught her to never put your happiness in a man. How is it her fault that I was also born a human being, but I chose to live like an animal? Her only fault to me was investing her trust in me, hoping that I would see a treasure in her. Because she tried to fight being treated during her child's times, and yet she is still frowning in her adult times. There is a thin line between tough love and love abuse. My love in disguise almost broke her beyond repair. She had to go through life-threatening situations only to hear me saying, I love you too. She said I'm not different from her father who used to violate her physically. She said I'm not different from her uncle who used to touch her inappropriately. She said I'm not different from her brother who used to watch her sexually. As a matter of fact, she said I'm all three in one. I only realized her deep scars when she exposed them. While packing her bags, even though she does not want to leave, but her feelings are saying no matter how many ways that she can show me that she and I are the same. It will make no difference as her mind is already made up that she and I will never be the same.
Sure. Yeah. Nkuli.
I felt like going like, and the audience went.
Yeah, no. It's wow. Tommy,
Yes, Mr. Ra.
Okren,
Kimnandi.
how do you guys feel? I know you're seeing this for the first time. How do you guys feel?
It was quite emotional.
Amazing.
And it's always weird watching yourself. It's always weird.
Wow. I mean, I watched this recently. I mean, the guys took some time producing it. I watched it recently. And I mean, I've seen Utami and he's picking up I'm like, what's up, hey, daughter? Hey, please wait. I'm like, what? Wow, this is amazing, guys. Well done. I'm very blown away. I'm very, very, very blown away by this. So,
Yeah.
so you
And
guys
the
are struggling
was
for that.
to your team, yo.
Yeah, no, they I mean, Tabang, Abuti Tabang and Temba, I mean, quite blown away. So Nonkuleko Koza and Tami Bufelo, welcome guys. Thank you so much for the work that you guys do. And I'm quite blown away. I didn't get to get the name of the poet.
Same difference.
Same difference. That's the name of the poem. And the poet?
Yes. It's Tibalo Maluleka.
Ah, no, Tebalo Maluleka is the man. The passion that came out. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, this is quite amazing. And I'm definitely sure this is not the last time we are doing this. We need to have something more. I mean, I sit with you guys, I talk to you, but just to see the work that you guys do, quite amazing. Thank you so much. So the first question that I asked Nkuli, when we first met, is why Struggles Production? What's up with Struggles Production? Where does that come from?
Yo, struggles, ne? It's a lot. The name itself, struggles, it represents a lot to us because number one, it started with our own personal struggles before even having the company struggles. There's being umnyama and trying to make it in this world. It's quite hectic and heavy. We come from two different backgrounds. We are Orange Farm, and we've been struggling trying to get to universities, trying to get bursaries, and then Utimaso Fundile still, there's still more needed from you, and it's never enough and it never ends. It's like a continuous struggle on its own. And
okay,
for us, being an artist, it's
Small struggles.
it's a struggle, Nakona. And it's not easy being an artist in Mzansi. Trying to establish yourself, trying to make yourself relevant, and showing people the talent that you have. So taking all of that into consideration, we just wanted to embrace the struggle. We don't want to run away or be ashamed of our struggles, but I'm a struggles way too. You was being la corner today. So for us, it was more about embracing the struggle and not being ashamed.
Okay, Tammy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I want to add something.
Yeah.
So, as you know, like Mr. Rashman Alore, the Bitele Levik is a Romo. So,
Yes.
most of our sisters and families, like all the time, like they ask us, why struggles? You're going to struggle, like you get my point. So, see the point they want, like you tell them, like, okay, even though you saw me to maybe we shopping something, it's not about it, I'm struggling. It's a struggle that like, it's like Nkulia Shiva, like artist, because like who you know if you want to go, if you want to be there in the industry. So so it's just a struggle because like another thing you want, like even right now as an artist, we face the struggles because like right now there's a corona things, there's a struggle that we face as artists.
Yeah.
So like I can talk about art and cultural things, like how you get funding is a big struggle from artists because like other artists they are there to perform at halls or someone's calling you like come and showcase yourself. I will give you a plate of bread and juice. You go in there to because like you want yourself to be there as an artist. So it's a struggle to be artist. But another thing you want, like most of the artists, like we been there as an artist, not being there as a businessman.
Yes.
Because like because like you even though like most of the time like most of artists are dying poor because like you are there as an artist, not you are there as a business person, as an entrepreneur. You can look to other e.g. like who's this? Caspar Noves is a businessman. It's no longer that artist, he's a businessman.
Okay. So, I mean, there's this concept that when you follow Elizabeth Gilbert's work, the writer of Eat, Love, and Pray, but she's written another book, Big Magic. And in there, she talks about the whole concept of a struggling artist. So this sounds to me like it's a universal concept where as a struggle, it's as if, as an artist, it's as if you're struggling with other demons. Like it's as if there's all these other creative demons that you need to fight and get. And here you need to make money. So it's sort of like, and there's this concept that as an artist, at some point you need to go crazy. Either what keeps you sane is drugs, you obsess about something and thing keeps you sane, right? Are you guys not at that point where you had to struggle with some of these things, or is it COVID that's been the biggest struggle recently?
Recently, yes, we can say COVID. But as you're talking about generally being an artist and struggles are corner, even from families, it's hard to explain to your family that you want to be an artist. But every day they'll keep on reminding you, go find a job.
Put the bread on the table.
Yes. Yeah, but they're expecting you to be a breadwinner over busy stage for what? You know, and you constantly need to remind them, no, this is my passion, this is my dream. For me, I even went to study performing arts, but still you come back home, they're still asking you, you know. So it's like people don't take you seriously until now you're a big celebrity, then now you'll be celebrated. But Mausa Kragila, no one cares about you. They can constantly remind you, go find a job.
Yeah, awesome. So take me through the creative process, right? In fact, before we get to the creative process, what do you guys do, right? What services do you guys do? If I want to engage Struggles Production, what do you guys do?
All right, so Struggles Production is a company that sells quality theater production plays based on reality stories with the aim to change society, give them a way to come up with solutions, and also use edutainment. While we educate, we also entertain in the same way. Struggles also.
Do poetry, do storytelling. We do even perform on the wedding. We do a story for you. And crash.
Okay.
Flash mob.
Yeah.
We do like there's a thing that you are so unique about it is like Struggles doing flash mob. We know like most of the companies or theater houses, they're not doing a flash mob. It's like you are so unique. You are a mobile theater. They need to come to us as we come to you to make it story for you.
Okay.
Like, even
so how does flash mob works? How does flash mob work? Is it a mob of people? What's the...
Flash mob is something like we done it to go lenyalong. So like maybe you, Mr. Rush, like your wife is inviting us. So to the wedding, we like crashing the wedding. So
okay,
crash the wedding. So like I'm going there. It's like maybe I'm a pension of your wife. So like, why you marry this guy? You get my point.
So
like,
yeah. So it's basically something that happens unprepared and unexpectedly, so that we get people's reaction. So we'll pop up out of nowhere, and then we'll perform what we're performing and get a real and honest response from people.
So haven't you been beaten up because now people don't know that you guys are acting?
Sorry, didn't get that.
Haven't you been beaten up? Didn't somebody say
yeah, almost. For me, like okay, maybe several times. So I have that because like most of the time when I'm going maybe only
Rash, we can't hear you. Yes, I think there's someone speaking.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, colleagues, can I please ask that you mute yourself? Because now we're struggling to hear each other. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Okay, we done it like several times, even at the wedding, at the tavern, pubs, even at mall. So most of the time, like I can say like we have lucky because like most of the time, like that time I was doing it at some pub in here in Orange Farm. Other guys, that time I beat Nkuli, but it's a flash mob thing because like we are doing acting about gender-based violence. Other guys like take that thing like personally. It's like wow, what they like. Like they are carrying like empty of beers, like hey, we're going to beat him like up. Like that time I was doing acting. They are kind of amazing because like they thought like we're from Soweto and we are from Orange Farm, and they think we're done it here in Orange Farm.
Oh, okay. So what's the creative process? I mean, how did you guys? I mean, here's this poem, same difference. How do you then get to a process where we are saying, okay, let's put this into a drama? What's your creative process?
So it differs depending on what we are working on at the time. But we do have a writing team where we sit down and we brainstorm a story. One thing about us as a company, every month we have a certain theme that we work towards. So if it's Human Rights Day, we'll come together, sit down, and see what can we write about human rights. What do you want to say to the people about human rights? We write it down, and then we go to rehearsals. And then after rehearsals, then the show is ready. We are able to go perform. But it starts from writing and research. Because we are a company that writes about reality stories, we have to do a lot of research and be certain about our information and what we want to say exactly to the people. So we do work with people. Someone will come to us and have a certain theme, and then we'll work around that, write it down, research it, and then get ready to go to rehearsals.
Okay. Do you guys think that you are artists that are accidental entrepreneurs, or do you think you are entrepreneurs who are creative? Do you think you are artists who are accidental entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
It started with us being entrepreneur because we were both students at Wits, and we really didn't want to go and work. We wanted to create jobs. We wanted to give artists opportunities as well. So it started with us being business minded and being entrepreneurs.
Yeah, because I was studying entrepreneurship at Business School.
Yeah.
So I met Tunku in 2017. So we came up together to open the style production company. Because like, okay, as you know, like in South Africa, there's a lack of job opportunities. So there are more graduates out there. So okay, I was not an actor. I started acting 2009. I quit that acting because like I was so focused on school. So till like I meet Unkuli was doing acting things. So we came up with the idea of like, why me and you, we can't open a company. You know how to act. I know how to balance book. So we can do this thing. Till we get the number of people like artists. We create a store, we create a store, we create a store. Till the point is like, you know, like in South Africa, the lack of job and more struggle of artists. Till we left, we left to sit there like on the stage. So like, no, uncle, now maybe there's time for me to act. So we can push this thing, so we can money. Because like, you know that like we are entrepreneurs that we are creative.
Okay. All right. Last question, because we're racing against time. I mean, you guys are a couple, so the secret is out. You guys are a couple. So Tammy, I mean, how has working together? We have had this conversation? How has working together affected the relationship at home? So Tammy, Unkuli is performing, right? And here's this guy, and there's a scene, and they have to kiss, right? Or vice versa. You have to kiss another woman. How does that affect the relationship? Does it get to, hey, how does that work?
Okay, before I answer that question, as you saw on the video that we played right now, that was playing right now, is me, is Nguli, and our son. That means it's a family, like the family tree, like business. So,
yeah.
For me, it becomes so easy because most of the stories that Nguli is going to be a girlfriend for someone, I direct the story. So before it becomes so sad, I know it about this. This thing is going to happen. Because like most of the stories that if Nguli is going to be kissed or is going to be doing something with the guy, I'm a director of the story. Okay. Yeah, I'm in the business. I'm an artist. I know about these things. So, you can ask her.
For me, it's awkward. It's awkward. I know it's but it's always awkward. It's always awkward to see your man being kissed by someone else. But but you know, it's always a bit awkward. But I think it's something that we have worked with because we've been working with this for like 7 years now. It gets easier with time.
Yeah. Like
you write the script in such a way that the guy who kills Tunkudi dies somewhere
Yeah, don't die. Yeah.
The
Don't
funny
die.
part is I'm normally the one that writes the story and then he directs it. So I will write a kissing scene and then he will direct with no, the imanga so maybe
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the, I mean, in the whole struggle that you guys have,
Pardon?
in the whole struggle that you guys have, as a last question, what are the lessons that you have learned? Maybe 1 or 2 lessons that you guys have learned throughout this journey. When someone outside is looking, is an artist, they want to get into the entertainment space, what advice would you give them?
For me, it's the business of art. I think that's why excuse me. So for me,
Okay.
it's can you hear me?
Okay, you can hear you now. I think somebody's, yeah.
Yes. So for me, it's understanding business. When we started the company struggles, there was a time where people stole our stories. There was a part where we didn't understand the paperwork and submitting things. So for us cracking and understanding the business side, don't just be an artist. Don't just be a blind artist at that even, always want to know more. Don't always try to know more, always read the finer print. For us, it has worked for us. And reading and understanding, for me, has been the biggest key for that. We'll see. Knowing and understanding the business side of what you are doing. Don't just be an artist.
Okay. Tammy? Any?
Okay, for me, it's so easy. Cause like I don't know anyone or anyone on my family is artist or on TV or on radio. Cause like sometimes they said like if you're going to be a businessman, you need maybe your father or a father of your father to be an entrepreneur or what. So there's a thing that goes like there's someone who can break that chain. So for me, I'm breaking that chain to be that artist, to be entrepreneur. So and go to school, guys. Okay, even though because schools help a lot. Because like another thing that I can tell my child is to understand yourself. Because like sometimes when you need to understand yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Great stuff. Thank you so much, colleagues. TJ says that's an amazing production. Elizabeth, these are 2 set stories about Mzansi. Very impressive storytelling. Keep up the wonderful work. I wanted to talk about GBV, but I'm hoping that we'll get some time towards the end before we close to talk about GBV. But thank you so much. Keep the amazing work. We'll play the last poem before we close at the end. So please stay put.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. So our last speaker of the evening is all the way from Ispingo in KZN. He's a social entrepreneur. He was, I think 2 years ago, what do they call this, Million Guardian, 200 young inspiring people. He'll explain that. I've known him for a very long time. He's an avid reader. He loves books. And if there's anyone who loves books, I love them. So he's not different. Ntokozo Ndlovu is going to take us through his biggest blunders. Let's welcome on the My Biggest Blunder stage, Tokozoovu Ndlovu.
Hello, Sanbona. Good evening, everyone. This is Tokozoovu Ndlovu, the founder of the Web Foundation, and Siyafunda donated book. So what we basically do, we are a non-profit organization. We establish libraries in rural schools. If I may just take you back and give you some takeaways from the past few years of what we have done. We have been to 9 provinces, and we have been to 57 schools. It's amazing, guys. We have reached out to more than 32 children, and we've donated more than 300,000 books to these rural schools. So we are very excited, and we're looking forward to doing more work because of the need that is out there for these libraries in these rural schools. Right. So let me just give you again my biggest blunder. As the leader of the organization, Siyafunda donates a book in particular, as we are well known, of how I've made or how I've learned through this journey of being a social entrepreneur. So I've got 3 lessons and 1 bonus. So one lesson is building structures within the organization, regardless of it being an NPO, Secondly, building systems. When there's structures, you need to have systems in place that you will, if you delegate according to the structures, what needs to be done, when and how. And then the last one is development, of myself as the leader, and Amachiteng Spana now. And then you'll get to hear about the bonus later on. Right, so my biggest blunder, I call it trust them all, or love them all, but trust no one. Love them all, trust no one. So this is what happens a few years back. In this work of ours, we were about to visit or take a trip to this particular province and this particular school, who have requested a computer as well as the books, because we've been in that particular province before and we've donated books and computers. So they want to keep up the standard, so they then contact us, and then we made arrangements and organized a computer from our donors and the books and everything. And then we prepared a trip to this particular province. During that preparation time, I was detached in Durban, so I was not in Pretoria. I couldn't be here to receive my computers. So within the team that I work with of Siyafunda, so there are guys that work, they take different roles when we move out, but it's not stipulated anywhere. Ubani wenzani, ubani wenzani, yabo? So that's the first blunder in ngayo yama structures. Right. So I make arrangements with the school, because I'm the one that speaks to the school, to say we're coming on this date, and we're delivering. Yes, we have the computers, we have the books, so on this date we're coming. And then I informed the team is excited, and there was this one particular guy who was, I instructed, or I had requested he must work with these computers and install applications and the works for these computers for this particular school. And he has done that for the past 2-3 years. He's been doing that. So on my behalf, he was able to receive my computer, confirmed the received, and then confirmed that he was working on them. And then a week before, or a weekend before we leave, we're going to leave on Monday. So I arrived in Pretoria on Friday to confirm everything is on par. We pack the whole weekend, we prepare everything that needs to be. There's a lot of work that needs to be done before we move, So we did that, I did that, and then, but prior that, the pre-planning happened while I was in Durban, and via, your group. And then everything was confirmed on the group, the books, the guys that were instructed to make sure what is packed and ready are there. They just need us to move the books and the computers. He's done everything. The media guys, they sorted out. So that was done. And then Friday I arrived. Saturday we are all together. Sunday we are all together. And then Monday I come to receive or to pack my laptop from him and he says he's got a surprise. Eh? Surprise, Ntwana. Surprise. Okay, what's the surprise? The surprise was he has organized computers in that particular province for that particular school that we are going to, but he has not informed me. I was like, okay, but Ntwana, uyenza kanjani le nto? How? Because why didn't you inform me about this? And you're informing me now when we need to leave. And it's like, yeah, man, ngiyaxolisa, but I've already made arrangements. You know, there's a lady somewhere in another province who has requested, we have seen us on social media, and has requested I'm a computer because he's running this community computer training center. So therefore, she needs a computer. And then I've agreed with some guy I'm a computer. On what grounds, on what basis? How do you do that without speaking to me? I'm told structuring, structures within the organization. Right. Then I said, no, you can't do that. That lady will not get the computers. Give us the 5 computers that we have, and then we'll see the rest when we come back. But these 5 will go to the other 2 schools that we've been to, as I've said earlier. 2 computers just to, sibakhuthaze nyana ukuthi we are there, and then siyababonga ngokuyiphatha kahle kwesikole and stuff like that, ngokupusha the work, keeping up the library up and running and stuff like that. So Makatu 2, and then we'll give a principal A1 for the new school. And then it was like, okay, sharp. He went inside the house 15 minutes, came back with a box full of computer bags inside the box. And then when I opened the box, okay, it was computers and bags. I was like, okay, say page moto, and then we hit the road. Say shy moto, baba. Say shy moto. We went to this particular province. We arrived. We informed everybody, every stakeholder there. Would say, let's figure tomorrow. This is the program. We're setting up my computer. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're doing that. And then it was then agreed to say in the morning he will then take a vehicle with another guy, go and get these computers where he organized them, as he has said, which he has a surprise for us. Right. They move. And then when they come back, they say the computers will be ready by tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Wednesday. So this guy knows our drill. And everyone in our team knows how we operate when we get to a school. First day we pack, we prepare, we let the principal see the refurbished library, as well as a computer if I corner, and SGP and everyone that is involved. And then on the following day, then that's when we launch, and then that's where we give our workshop. We do our workshop with the kids and everybody. Now, because we have promised to deliver on the computers, the books. Tuesday comes, they go, they come back, they say the computers will be ready the following day. Now we had to have a plan to tell or inform the principal about this. That was my biggest challenge. Now, taking into consideration if we had structures and systems in place, some of the signals we could have seen them before the time, before we even arrive at the school. Personally, that's just one of my biggest blunder in the process. Now we had to go and give an excuse to the principal about some technical abilities and stuff like that, of not getting these computers, not being ready and stuff like that. And so we agreed that tomorrow morning we'll have a computer. But then we requested these boxes of computers that we came with, only to find inside it's just books, these computer bags. There was a big signal for us, and for the whole team and for me, if there were systems in place and we could have learned about this earlier on, learned about this big surprise earlier on, but there are no systems because of I run this organization as You know, umuntu uyeza just because of ufuna ukusebenza and thinking that he's passionate about books and the rural children, and therefore I just accept wonke umuntu kanjalo. But if there were systems and structures in place, we could have done what each and every organization does formally. So, vetting people, you know, who is this guy, what does he do, what is his background, and stuff like that. And once we have him inside the organization, simnike a certain role, and then that person will be responsible for that role and equipment and whatever that he is working with. So again, that's my biggest blunder in the whole process. Right, so it's Wednesday. I decide to wake up and I mean personally to go and get these computers. And then we go to the mall. When we go to the mall, walking in, you know, and then this guy says, Bafo, I have a confession to make. Okay, confession, what confession? And then it was like, yeah, there are no laptops, there are no computers. Oh, shit, yeah. What do you mean there are no computers? You said you've arranged computers. Said there are no computers. And then what about our computers? Like, there are no computers. What happened to our computers? And at that time, my mind was on the principal, the school children that were supposed to be receiving these things. We've made a promise. We need to deliver on the promise. And regardless of whether big or small organization we are, we have made a promise to these kids. These are the lessons that I've learned from my biggest blunder. As I've said earlier on, there's three, and I say one. So this one of setting up my structures within the organization, as much as no matter how small the organization can be or big the organization can be, because one day it will outgrow you as the owner or the founder of the organization or as the leader of the organization. You must have structures in place. Secondly, following our structures are systems, because without systems in place, everyone does what he wants when he wants to do. Nobody is responsible for anything, and you know, so nobody takes responsibility for anything that happens within the organization's equipment, assets, whatever the case might be. So you need to have systems in place. Once you have systems, that's how big companies and big organization operates, you know. So you have a title, you are an operational ndondon, you are a project manager, and you know your duties and responsibilities. So you have a duty sheet where you acknowledge you are responsible for 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it, you know, and we are responsible for that. So I had failed to implement that. And on top of that, the last one that I'm still going through now is development of Amachita within the organization, so that they'll be able to, when we set up our structures, they are ready to execute and ready to take responsibility for whatever that they need to do, and with whatever equipment that they have on their position. Right. And then the bonus one is that the approach, guys, towards our NPOs and non-profit organizations. So if you are there sitting and thinking, I would want to start an NPO one day because I would want to do charity work to the community, is that you should approach it as a business. You should approach it as a big organization and implement structures early in the business or early in the organization, regardless of how small you can be, ukuthi-ke ukwazi uku-operator ngendlela right when and not ukuthi i-organization outgrow, because you'll be receiving computers, you'll be receiving vehicles, you'll be receiving maybe property in the next future, so you won't be able to handle all these assets and this equipment because of you don't have structures in place and systems in place to make sure everything works for the organization. So, ngiyabonga kakhulu to get this opportunity to speak to you guys about this, about my biggest blunder, and I'm hard at work in making sure the structures are in place, the systems are in place. I develop a machita, and my approach now towards the work that we're doing, it's properly organized, planned, and yeah. So those are my biggest blunders, guys, and how I felt at that time. Blunder, when we were going through the blunder. I felt I disappointed myself, the organization, the people that we were supposed to deliver these computers to. Not much to the guy, because I couldn't hold him responsible for anything, because it was just a matter of lungisa nama computer and then survive. So my biggest blunder was with me. If I had him maybe signing some documents, making sure with it's there, and and then it reports back to somebody, and then but there was no systems in place. So guys, please, this is a big lesson for me, and I hope you guys will also learn from this biggest blunder of mine, not to in your organizations or in the future. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Ntokozo Ndlovu.
Yeah, Braroj.
Boyamnyat.
Oh, baba.
Kacheni.
Yebo baba. Awu manje nami angizazi ithakazelo zakwamamapolo. Ngabe ngiyakuthakazela.
Where's your video, baba? You must switch on your video. Funa ukubona phela.
Ngifuna ukungibona. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You must come through.
Here we go. Okay. I think I'm visible.
You must come through.
I think I'm visible. I'm here. My they say my bandwidth is low.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Baba.
Yeah. Sure.
Just move the camera just a little bit down.
Okay, a light,
Yeah, just there you go. Kacheni.
Yeah.
Baba. Where are the computers?
My computers, they were sold.
They were sold, Bob.
Yeah, they were sold, They were sold.
And then the guy, you are at the mall. At
No, I'm sure that. Yeah. Yo. And we've traveled. I'm here, when I was a child.
Okay, that's so interesting. So how did you open the bag? There are no computers, there are books in there. What's your reaction?
Yo. Raj, my thoughts just went back when I was in Durban. I've been speaking to this guy for almost 2 weeks. 2 weeks. To say, Ndwana, prepare these computers. And he's been doing that for the past 3-4 years. He's been doing this for the past 3 years. So I didn't think he might just, make this move. And young shaga cool, There was, when we talk about the big blunder, this of mine was the biggest.
So you go back to the school. What do you say to the principal?
Hey, no, we had to. I met the team first. So when I left him at the mall, I came back. I met the team where we were staying, and I did deliver this talk about with computers are not here. And then we said, guys, let's have let's come up with an excuse, right, that we will be able to say, even if it fails tomorrow, we are still going to be able to maybe have another excuse on top of that. So then we came back and said, no, these computers that were sent, that were organized by this guy, they are not in good condition. And therefore we cannot give these computers to the school because we want to bring dignity to the school, and we can't bring unserviceable equipment to the school.
Oh my word. Okay.
Yeah, and then the principal then called the SGB and the teachers, and the library committee. Then I had to sing this verse again, of the computers, the technical abilities of these computers that are not in good condition. Some of them you can switch them on and stuff like that. So we don't want to give the school a computer that are unserviceable, because we are literally not giving back dignity abantwana basemakhaya that we want to empower and capacitate in terms of computer literacy.
Sure. And
yeah.
How did it end? Did it end in tears ultimately, or did you make a plan? Did you get the computers eventually? Did you get others? Did you buy them? What happened?
We had to make a plan, Raj. We had to fundraise and buy these computers. The worth of these computers were like 40K, So we had to get computers secondhand. So we went as far as Boma Gumtree. We went to search for computers that were on sale, Boma Cash Crusaders, and we had to buy it from our own fund because this guy was a shy flop, and because we need to deliver on the promise.
I assume
we've delivered 2 schools in that particular province.
Okay.
And they are very close next to each other.
Yeah. I assume he was fired on the spot.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm running out of time, so I'm chasing time. So what are you saying, Donna? Love them all and trust no one. Are you saying you don't trust your team members?
That taught me the lesson. I must not trust them. I trusted them. Not to trust them anymore. Because I've been with this guy for the past 5 years. So it taught me, even in my normal work in the military, but we are taught to trust each other, even in good and bad times. I took the same approach to the organization, to say I need to bring in this culture of trust, and so that we can work and work together. But now when I did that, it eventually backfired.
Okay. So, last question. You built systems now. Are they working? Are you happy with how the systems are working?
So far, yes, I am, because I'm in touch now with the project manager. So he's the one that is making sure he's there on the ground, he's meeting this guy. If things need to be done, like now we're busy with this project of the 10 schools for the November month. So he's there on the ground making sure the books are there, the books are packed, they are delivered to each and every school, and who's going, who's not going, So I'm just now checking the overall, but I'm making sure this guy gives me feedback and he sees, make sure we are cornered and be with the guys, whatever that needs to be done, he is there.
Okay. All right. All right, no, that's awesome. I mean, you're a reader. You read quite a lot. I mean, what books would you recommend the guys to read, especially when it comes to social entrepreneurship?
Well, I'm currently reading this one, Praroj, so I would highly recommend it right now, Raymond, I spoke to you about it the last time.
Yes.
Yeah, this is my top of the read currently next to my bed. So there's a nice quote here by the Buddhist poet. It says, you need to travel the path. Ne? It says you cannot travel the path until you have become the path yourself.
Yeah.
That's big for me. You need to be the path before you travel the path.
Yeah.
Exactly my blunder.
Yeah.
So you learn things the hard way. But you need to be there to learn it. Otherwise, you will not learn if you are not there.
Yes. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, let's close. I mean, Benji is asking what kind of systems are in place so that the same thing does not happen again.
Well, I have appointed a project manager that will look into the operations of the organization in terms of.
Okay, there I go with load shedding. Yes, go on.
Yeah, load shedding. So we have started ensuring people. We've had people now. So this project manager, that's his job to make sure the people that we want to bring into the organization are vetted. We check this background, we check his motive and intentions of why if join, and then we make him sign a contract, some agreements.
Okay, great. Okay, maybe let's do this way because we need to wrap up. Thank you so much, Ntokozo. I mean, the work that you are doing is quite amazing. It's quite impactful. And keep up the amazing work, man. It's quite amazing. And thanks for the story, and thanks for the vulnerability of opening up and sharing your blunder. A lot of people don't share their blunders because they are afraid they'll be embarrassed, or people will look down on them. But thanks for being vulnerable. Maybe let's bring the other speakers and just to wrap up. Thanks a lot, Boya Benyat. Let's bring. Don't close your video. Can Makatu please come through? I just have one question to ask, and then we can wrap up. And also Barkeman and Kudi, please come through, guys, and let's wrap up the discussion. Kudi, Tammy, are you guys still here?
Okay. Yes, we're still here.
Okay. Please switch on. Yes. So, Makatu, I mean, we got, technology did a one on us. What would you, I look at your story, you say you have a partner. I mean, what kind of a partner was there? A silent partner? Is there a partner that was just throwing in the money? What kind of a partner do you have? Makatu? Okay, I'm not so sure if Makatu can hear us. I think we still have Makatu. Can you hear us?
It's basically yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Go for it.
No, I was saying, sorry, my internet is a bit unstable, but I was saying she's a silent investor. So basically, she just threw in money and trusted me to make things happen. And then we have some sort of agreements.
Okay. Guys, listening to each other's stories, what are you able to pick up? You have heard the stories. What are your thoughts on the other guys' stories? Can you relate to their blunders?
Yes, especially Makatu, so when you are working and you are in a mode yokuthi ufuna izinto zenzeke, so you don't pay attention to detail to a lot of things because usheshe umthembe lowo muntu because you really want or need his or her service, yabo. So we are bound ukuthi vele abantu baskeme because they know ukuthi we are in need of their service or their product, yabo. So and isikhathi sisuke singekho to make that decision to say, let me check his background. I think check lo muntu ukuthi maybe he's not a scammer, who has he worked with before. Maybe you do that background checking, but eventually you make the deal and say, I need that thing next week. You're gonna pay that thing next week sharp. Sure, I pay you now, deposit and so forth and so on. So those are the things we need to have people that will do that for us because Sinangan we are leading these companies and organizations. So we need to be able to have people that will do the quick background check, go onto their website, go to their profile on social media, and go to people that have worked with and do a reference check. How long does it take to deliver and stuff like that? So I learned a big lesson from Makatu, and he's doing a great business.
Okay, great. Tami, Nkuli, any lessons that you guys have picked up?
Yeah. I mean, there's a part where the Kunyanye, I think, is it Makam? So he's talking about this thing that happens, because you always need to know someone to get something done. You know, I think it's something as South African, a push on a corruption, and we all go through that, where you want something so bad, but because you don't know anyone that's doing that thing or that's in that company or that knows someone, it's always pulling us back. But Nakona, doing an honest job will make you sleep well at night. You know, you don't have to be corrupt. You don't have to be doing other things, but let's be proud of our work and stand by our work, you know. And with that, we can do a lot.
Yeah.
Because
Okay. Tami, go for it.
Okay, to add to that thing, like Mr. Rash, like most of the time, like as youth, like tender. If I can get that tender, I'm going to be a millionaire because like they're going to give me a 4 million tender. So in 10 years, like I'm going to use like 3.5. So I'm going to keep 3.5 if 500,000 in Spanish. So because like here that thing would say it will allow most of entrepreneurs. So but I'm so proud to, because I saw them on the poster, but to listen to their stories. Stories, because like to listen to each other's story. There's something like it's like, cool. It's okay. Okay. Now it's going through this. Okay,
Okay. Last words, Ntokozo, last words before we close.
My last word, ngiyabonga kakhulu for the opportunity, Praroj, to share our stories. I hope people will learn from our blunders, and let's carry on. Let's make more blunders. You know, we will get where we need to get. Otherwise, we will not get to where we want to get if we don't make these blunders, because we, you know. So sibonga kakhulu for opening this opportunity for us, and nam namajita now I'm going to check on them ukuthi benza namajita grand abo Makatu abo Sesunkule, you know. Now I'm into this production side sometimes, you know. So maybe again it's the networking, osinikeza an opportunity to network. So siyabonga kakhulu Praroj, and people should never stop really.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Makatu, last words?
No, I just wanted to also like say how what I've learned from my brother here on Togozo about having systems and structures in place. It's very important, and it's something where in the beginning of a business you don't necessarily think of, because you're basically the only one doing everything, you know, which is what I'm doing. My business is only 7 months old, so I'm still in the beginning stages. And he mentioned the whole structures thing, because if we're being honest, as an entrepreneur, your business is gonna get to the point where you're not there physically, you know, and you can't run things as being there present, and you need to have people in place and make sure that tasks and delegate things properly. So I think that's one big thing that I've learned from my brother here on Togozo. And I also wanted to say something, man. I forgot. But anyway, thank you, brother. This was a very great and insightful, very informative talk. I think
Yeah.
everyone here, even besides the whole us, Jay, I think there's 17 participants here, and whoever's watching from
Yeah.
Facebook, I'm pretty sure they learned something that
Yeah.
that might help them. Even this goes beyond entrepreneurship in anything that you do in relationships. You know, me trust him, also trusting his team. I trusted someone who's outside the team. So I think that's something that applies
Yeah.
in all aspects of life, relationships, business, money, you know, the whole topic of trust and making sure things. Oh, I actually wanted to say, Uguti, we should continue making blunders. And I think the safest time to make blunders is in the beginning stages, you know. I can imagine my brother here when
True. True.
it was 10 years later and it's a huge NGO, and you know it's laptops and laptops and laptops bag, like he was supposed to supply the whole South Africa, and then something as this happened. That would really set him back. So the bright side to that is that it happened.
Absolutely.
And same with me, you know, if we're being honest, it was just a 300 Rand deposit that I gave that guy. So had it been 5 years from now, where it's a huge company, you know, maybe Coke type of Coca-Cola, let's say the company gets that big, obviously I was obviously going to be quoted more, and I would have just thrown it like that. But that has also taught me, Guti, the safest time is to make mistakes currently while you're still young and developing, while the business is still finding its feet. And yeah, thank you, Prarosh, for this opportunity, man. I'll also be in touch with Unkule or Togozo and anyone who might want to be in touch with me in terms of, besides just buying candles, but learning from each other, bouncing ideas, and collaboration, basically. Because who knows, when we make
Yeah.
advertisements on Togos, we might call Unkuli and her team ukuthi benze something nice, a sketch nyana, a skit. So at least now I know someone
Yes.
production. I know you guys. I know Togos, or I know it's great networking. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Makatu. Yeah, and thanks for the vulnerability as well. We all
Aku kusweta tata yang good. Bakuwa yang good.
Hello.
We are still there. Hello.
Hello, ngicabanga ukuthi uBraros ushawa i-load shedding yabo. So angazi noma umuntu sengavalelisa yini yabo.
And bekumele adlale the last video to close, so I'm not sure who else is still the host Ocon. Senza kanjani guys?
Oh, okay. I know. So it told through whatever that he was supposed to ukutayidlale. So it told I think ngezinye indlela ngoba manje na akasekho yabo. Yeah.
Okay.
And then quick one. How do we get hold of each other, because mina ngiyafuna ukukhuluma nani bafethu yabo.
Okay.
All right. Siyatholakala ku Facebook. We are on Facebook, Struggles Productions. Otherwise, for bookings, you can get us on 071 956 9489. Tingiphinda futhi 071 956 9489. For bookings, is available. We are mobile. We are able to go wherever we are needed. Struggles.
Kulungile ba.
Sinithola kanjani ngalapho?
Siyafunda donate a book or Ntokozo Ndlovu on social media, and then my number is 079 080 6112.
Mawaphinda futhi.
Okay, mina ngiyatholakala enkundleni zokuxhumana bafowethu on social media. It's Ntokozo Ndlovu, ne?
Okay.
And siyafunda donate a book. That's our page. So inombolo zami, it's 079 080.
Hello.
Hello, Nkuli.
Yeah. Sigcine ku 079. Oh.
Sure. Yeah, I ngishusha network bafethu. 079
Okay.
080
Okay.
6112.
Khona inamba eyi-1 esingayizwanga, ziyashort.
Yiphi leyo?
Before 6992.
Okay, 080
080
6112.
Okay.
All right, siyabonga.
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
Apologies, colleagues. I
Drop
had
your WhatsApp.
I had network issues. Apologies for that. So I think close. I was hoping that colleagues, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, we can still hear you, Praroj.
Okay, so apologies for that. I had network issues. I think we were wrapping up. Nkudi, I don't know if you guys have managed to wrap up. Yeah, your last words. Nkuli, Tammy?
Hello, sir.
Yes, last words before we wrap up.
Okay, for us, like, thank you for this opportunity. Okay, via networking, like for us, like via networking, because like we are on a production company, so and we can do a story about many things. Like we can do story about that candle. It's like we're facing a low shading now. Yeah, also like we can do a story for books, because like we do stories for abantwana besikolo. We do theater and bring theater to schools. So maybe like in what less we can read some books and make a story, because sometimes like abanye abantwana, they can't read, they can understand when you do a story. Yeah,
Okay.
for me, like for that networking, and thank you, coach, to having you, like, yeah, like, a whole, like, thanks to Discovery to bring you to us in
Yeah.
to bring you like, yeah, for us, like, you mean a lot. Yeah, because like you're growing us through business and mind.
No, for me, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been great being part of this. It was awesome also shooting the productions. Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to hearing and working with entrepreneurs that we have networked with today. Did we just lose our host again? Are you still there, Mr. Raj?
I'm still here. Oh, shucks. Okay. Yeah, I think the network is really disappointing me. I'm trying to play.
Yeah, we lost you again.